Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of the timeline series titled The Rest of the Story in the Case of Christopher Watts. In episode 1, we took a look at Christopher Watts' childhood. In episode 2, we took a look at the very beginning of the relationship back in 2010. And now in episode 3, titled Us versus Them, we're going to take a closer look at something that often happens in abusive relationships early on in the relationship. It's the us versus them mentality. So I want to point out a few things that we've learned about the case of Christopher Watts that would fit that us versus them mentality. Think about how it was actually a few months after meeting each other before they introduced their boyfriend or their girlfriend to their parents. I find that to be an interesting detail of this case because they lived pretty close by. You know, it isn't like it would have been a long drive or anything. So I think that's really interesting that they were dating, and it sounds like it was at least for a few months. And they were serious because remember, she quit her job just a few weeks after she met him. And remember, she said that he was going with her to all sorts of doctor appointments, right? They were evidently spending a lot of time together. Remember, she told him she did not want him to keep going to the gym every day. So why did it take so long for them to introduce each other to their parents? I just think that's really interesting. I think that's a detail that nobody's ever really pointed out before. Well, if you think about it, it may have taken a few months to really develop this us versus them mentality, right? Now think about that first meeting. Before Christopher Watts' wife met his parents, she talked him into lying to his parents about how old she was. My hunch is Christopher Watts probably never lied to his parents before that day. Just my hunch. The Watts family strikes me as being a very open and honest family. And I think that Ronnie and Cindy Watts raised their children to be very open and honest. And I do think that when they realized that their son had lied to them, that it bothered them very much, as it should. Oh, people say it was just a prank, it was just a joke. Well, you want to know something? Some things just aren't funny. And that's one of them. Because I think that she was actually testing to see if he would lie for her, or how easily he would be swayed to lie to his own parents. You know, we're told by one of his friends that when they were first dating that his wife was really rude to his friends, like really rude. And what the friend said in an interview was that Christopher Watts would then show up a day or two later to apologize for her behavior, as if it was his responsibility how she acted toward his friends. He would apologize for her behavior, and he would say routinely, because this was not a one-time occurrence, he would routinely say, well, she was just having a bad day. So there he is showing up to apologize for her behavior and then making excuses for her behavior, minimizing her rudeness to his friends by trying to chalk it up as just her having a bad day. And the friend said in the interview that, you know what, if it would have happened just once or twice, then yeah, maybe somebody was having a bad day. But when it happens 20 times, maybe that somebody has a bad personality. I thought that was an interesting observation on Christopher Watt's friend's part, and I think she was correct. Once or twice, maybe. 20 times? Uh-uh. Yet there he was, apologizing for her behavior and saying she was just having a bad day. Hey guys, sorry about that little interruption there with that phone call. So let's continue with episode 3 of the timeline series titled The Rest of the Story, in the case of Christopher Watts. Episode 1 was titled Once Upon a Crime. Episode 2 was titled In the Beginning. Episode 3 is titled Us versus Them. And in the first part, I talked about how Christopher Watts' wife expected him to lie to his parents about how old she was. She said that she thought it would be really funny to see the looks on their faces when they met her and realized that she wasn't really 40. Well, there's another part to that story that we've talked about a little bit before. I want to just mention it again. At that get-together, well, a few of the women were in the kitchen taking care of the food and the dishes and everything. They were commenting to each other how that seemed very strange to them. That Christopher Watts, at that time, new girlfriend, would have asked him to lie to his parents about her age. I think the women who were talking about that in the kitchen were thinking that it was a very immature thing to do. And they were talking about it while they did their work in the kitchen. They thought that Christopher Watts' girlfriend at that time was still sitting out on the back porch. They didn't know that she was actually standing right outside of the doorway into the kitchen, and she was listening to them talk about how they thought it was really strange that she would have had Christopher Watts lie to his folks about how old she was. Evidently, the conversation in the kitchen suddenly went quiet when one of the women in the kitchen turned around and noticed that Christopher Watts' wife was standing just out of sight, but obviously listening in. When the women stopped talking, Christopher Watts' wife walked back outside. Now think about that, and then think about how the conversation may have gone after the party was over. Think about what Christopher Watts may have been told about what his then new girlfriend had overheard. At the same time, Christopher Watts' wife was telling him that she and her mother-in-law from her first marriage got along very well. They were very close. And I think he heard that message over and over again, that she had a good relationship with her first mother-in-law. But did she? Well, I imagine Christopher Watts believed what she said. But did she? I don't know. What do you think? Because that theme continued right on through their entire marriage, that she would mention it from time to time how close she was to her first mother-in-law, right? So back to the us versus them. Think about that. If we're told by one of Christopher Watts' long-term friends, in fact, I think she may have been an ex-girlfriend, but they remained friends afterwards, after they dated. If we're told that Christopher Watts' wife was very rude to his friends, very insulting to them, and we were also told that one time when Christopher Watts and his then girlfriend showed up at a restaurant to meet one of his lifelong friends and his buddy's wife, that Christopher Watts greeted his buddy and then gave a hug to his buddy's wife when they first arrived, right? And evidently, that made his then girlfriend very angry that he hugged his buddy's wife. And we're told that that buddy wasn't able to see Christopher Watts for another 6 months after that happened. So let's see, how is this shaping up here? We have evidently the women in the kitchen who would have probably been accused of not being nice to Christopher Watts' girlfriend at that time, right? And then we have Christopher Watts' friends who are experiencing, well, they're probably standing there going, what did you just say? When she would insult their dishes or insult their homes. So they're probably going like, who is this person that he's dating? And why on earth is he still dating her after what she just said, right? So right off the bat, the family, and then in the first few months, the friends, right? And then the buddy, because he had the gall to hug his buddy's wife hello. And then also we've been told that Christopher Watts' wife didn't want him working out at the gym every day. That was his habit, was to head to the gym after work and work out. And she didn't like that, so she told him no, and he stopped going to the gym. Us versus them. Do you think that maybe Christopher Watts' wife was saying to him, your family doesn't like me. I don't know what the problem is, because my first mother-in-law and I got along just fine. Do you think that she may have been saying to him, your friends are rude to me. I don't understand what their problem is. See what I'm saying? Us versus them. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section below.